Hello Virgo, and welcome to your December reading. It's great to see everybody, and I'm so excited to be looking at December for each and every sign because, as I've been saying across all the different videos this month, December presents this portal opportunity, a sort of gateway that everybody can step through. And this is really exciting because what it means is that energy of change is happening right here and right now. You don't have to wait until midnight between the 31st and the 1st. It's going to be available for you now, and if you start to put your mind, put your energy into what you want to change, what you want to create, it'll happen faster. And that's really what I want to do, is help you build momentum so that as you enter into the new year, you're ready for the foundational energy that is a part of 2020. Numerologically, it's a number 4 year, and that's all about creating new things. This was a disruptive year. This was about sometimes things falling away or things revealing themselves to you. But as you're entering into next year, now you're going to lay the foundation for something bigger, something better, hopefully something brighter. So I want to get everybody prepared, and that's what we're going to do this month. I'd like to begin first by welcoming back all of my return viewers, especially all of those of you that have been with me for 5 or 6 years. It means so much that you continue to work on yourself each and every month. It's your enthusiasm, your curiosity, and your support that makes it so worthwhile to come back every month. Additionally, if you're brand new, I'd like to give you a nice warm welcome and a quick overview of what we're going to be doing here today. Every month, I like to separate my reading into 3 primary parts. I start off with channeled information. What I do at that point is I'll bless the cards, meditate, and whatever comes through as far as images, insights, etc., I will share it with you. It's just raw intuition. After that, I'm going to use the Celtic cross in front of me to highlight any of the key opportunities, some of the challenges, and all of that in-between stuff that we have to work through from day to day, and that's what that Celtic cross is going to reveal. Then I expand the forecast because I know that there are key areas that we all really care about each month, and that extended forecast will include health, wealth, love, and destiny. So as you can see, it's a really nice comprehensive overview of everything that's available this month and even a peek into what's available next year. And if you like what you see, I'd encourage you to stick around until the end, because at that point I'll give a high-level overview which wraps up all of the content into about 5 minutes, and a takeaway, which I call the closing word. I'll also take a few minutes to highlight ways that you can give back if you feel so inclined. This includes everything from liking and subscribing, joining me on social media, booking an appointment if you'd like to talk one-on-one, or even becoming a patron and giving a small contribution to support the production that you see on this channel. I'll get into all of that at the end of the video, but right here and right now, I really want to get into the channel message for this month, so let's do that. This month, as I selected a deck of cards and I meditated on your sign, I saw this sea of green grass. Everywhere that I looked, it was just this beautiful emerald color. And for me, that of course is associated with the heart chakra. And what struck me was how much growth, how much abundance, how much ground it was covering. As I looked at the imagery, there were 2 things that I kept going between. It was sort of like a close-up and then the wide view of everything. One was like the singular blades of grass, and then it was the sum of everything. So many of you have been doing all of those little tiny things to set in motion this expansion that is going to happen for you next year. That expansion could be wealth, because green also symbolizes money. It could be the ability to reach a large audience or a lot of people, because grass is basically nature's ground cover. It's everywhere. And you don't have to do much to allow for that growth to happen, except kind of like show up and continue to be there. So there's this perseverance, persistence, this ability to kind of weather anything, because when we look at grass in nature, it really takes a beating. Lots of things go through it. You can kind of rip up portions and they grow back. So I believe that next year you can see growth and abundance no matter what, if you just believe in yourself, show up, and don't give up. And I really, really like that message overall. There's also something that it's kind of like a contrast between individuality, a particular blade of grass, and then this universal energy with all of the blades kind of melting together and becoming one. So there's something about your unique vision, your personality, or this message that you're going to bring out to the public or to your friends or to your family that's going to strike a chord and could allow for you to really become kind of viral or catch on or be very successful. So Trust in your unique voice, share that with others, and it's going to lead to success. Whether it's a moderate success or a big breakthrough, I just want you to embrace your individuality and then know that that's going to bring abundance with it. So I captured this in automatic writing, and I basically just said embrace abundance, and I would say in all forms. This is the love that I was feeling and seeing with the green energy in your heart. This could be in money and career because, again, green is about wealth and about finances. And then it's also just an expansion overall. Grass reaching into all places, all regions. So all parts of your life could grow next year. You could learn more if you wanted to go back to school. You could fix your financial situation if it hasn't been what you wanted it to be. You could deepen an existing relationship if you want to really explore that green energy of the heart space, or you could find love if that's something you want as well. It could also be a card of service because, again, that's outreach. So next year, I don't see you being alone. I see you doing things touching a larger group of people. So whether it's through your voice, through your service, through some sort of product that you're going to release, I just see expansion overall. And that makes me really curious to see what the cards are going to show. So let's take a look now at the Celtic Cross. Pay attention to what needs to be resolved this month and maybe get a little hint at what this expansion is going to be. Just a reminder, at this point, I like to remain quiet as I lay out all the cards on the table, but I'll join you afterwards to break down the messages for the month ahead. Let's go ahead now and move along to the catalyst. Before I get into it, I'll just remind you what the catalyst functions as. This is a connective thread for everything that we see. It's also a way to ignite or capture or embrace the high frequency energy of the month. This card, we need to pull upright to kind of see a little bit better, but the message that I got from this is that it's time to emerge. It's time to spread your wings because the energy here at the center is very, very compacted, and it feels like some of you have almost put a cocoon around yourself as a form of protection, which may have been valid and necessary for the past, in the past to kind of be protected and safe, but there's no need anymore. It's time to come out. The colors in this are very muted. For some of you, protecting yourself also meant isolating yourself, and it could have been isolating yourself from things that brought you a sense of joy and fulfillment. So intersperse that, inject that into this month to open up your heart, because the outcome card shows that there's a little bit of healing to do there. And if you do that now, you can avoid kind of being stuck in this energy. I don't want you to be there. So I'm encouraging you to have some fun, trust yourself, take a risk and do things that you want to do. And don't be afraid to be around people, because the cards here are showing that in order for your success and expansion to happen, you're going to need to get out in that larger group. In fact, as we go straight to the center here, we have the 10 of Pentacles. The 10 of Pentacles was reversed, but I want to pull the card upright and just talk about it for a second. There's definitely a group energy involved with 10 of Pentacles. It can indicate marriage. It can show involvement in a larger company or corporation. It can be about public acclaim. But what happens is through your visibility, through your involvement, through your outreach, comes the success that we see here. It also is a very supportive card. So the fact that it's reversed is actually kind of the universe asking you, do you see your worth? Are you able to see the fact that you have a lot to give the world? When you start to value yourself and see that worth and start to capitalize on what you can do for yourself and for others, then the career opportunities, the money opportunities, the growth opportunities start to show themselves. And there's nothing inherently negative with the Ten of Pentacles. It's one of the best cards that you can pull in tarot. It's growth, it's sustainability, like I said, it's marriage, partnership, success. It might be time, however, to change what you're doing for a living, because on top of the Ten of Pentacles, we have the Wheel of Fortune. And they're both tens. You notice, like in the major arcana, this is number 10. And of course, we're at the 10th card within this suit. So 2 ends, 2 changes, 2 shifts. And this could mean for many of you, a move plus a new job, or that you're deciding to repackage your skills and try something different. That's something that I did 5 years ago when I decided to really leave a corporate career behind and embark on creating my own business and helping other people and repackaging everything. So I've been through that and know how challenging it can be, but I also know how fulfilling it can be. So for those of you that might be holding back and thinking, can I do it? Feeling a little small, feeling a little uncertain. There is nothing small. There is nothing uncertain about these 2 cards. So the first thing that I'd like to do is highlight your worth, your capacity for growth, and your capacity for success. It's all there, front and center in the middle of this spread. The Wheel of Fortune shows a reset of a cycle, and it's also an indication that it takes time for change to happen too. Parts of it will happen quickly and swiftly. That's kind of like the decision to do something different in your life. But then for it to integrate, for the success to build, for everything to happen, this can sometimes be a minimum of a year. For me, I see 4 seasons whenever I look at this card. So 1 year, it can also indicate a 4-year cycle too. So just take your time and enjoy that a little bit as well. I think the first step is seeing what you want to do, taking that leap of faith, and then there is the foundation, the building. And that's what next year is. That's what we see here. We see the archway, which is what's going to allow you to step through it, and then we see this foundational card here. So I am just encouraging you, if you want to try something new, all that energy is there. If you are feeling like you are trapped, or that there's a glass ceiling, or that you're not going as far as you want to, there is no reason that you have to stay put. Again, looking at this particular Ten of Pentacles, we see an archway, which is showing that there are other opportunities if you step through the door and look for other things. If you're going to stay in a current job or relationship, there has to be something where you feel growth. And if it's a relationship where both parties are actively contributing, there's reciprocity. And I think that that's the other thing that I want to make sure that you can take away from this as well, is you should be getting what you're putting into this. Something's off when the card isn't in the upright position. So either you're investing too much or taking too much, and it's important for you right now to balance things out a little bit so that it's sustainable, so that the resources, either yours or whatever you're tapping into, don't get exhausted, okay? Given what I was seeing though, I feel like there is a lot of abundance, and there should be no reason for an exhaustion if you are smart about that. And that's the lesson from the past. If you take a look at this particular 2 of Pentacles, the character here is almost doing the yogi tree pose, if his hands were in the heart center. But what we're seeing here is as you ground yourself and focus on the goal or goals at hand, you're going to be able to achieve success and balance. And really try to limit your scope to 1 or 2 things that you're focusing on. I think that's going to be key. This is about resource balance, work-life balance, health balance. So if anything in your life is kind of feeling exhausted, you've been burning the candle at both ends, for instance, maybe not getting enough sleep, not eating right, whatever it is, this month, bring that back into some sort or some semblance of balance and self-care, and that's really going to help you out, okay? This is in the deep past, which means that the lesson should have already been learned, but when I look at this sort of Celtic cross spread for this month, it's coming through because there's an element of that is presenting itself again, saying it's okay, you're going to be okay now, just remember what you learned. So in the recent past, we have the Moon card in reverse, and the thing that I'm actually seeing first and foremost with this is that some of you, if you are married or even if you are single, you might be looking at starting a family or adopting. And if you are trying to get pregnant, I do have some good news or some symbols here that portend good things, because the 10 of Pentacles at the center, that shows fertility, and so does the Wheel of Fortune. That shows success. But it's really important for those of you that do become pregnant during this period to take it easy. This is all about resting to make sure that your body is able to successfully accept and process that pregnancy. And diet is going to be really important for those of you that are also trying to become pregnant. Because if you try to do too much too fast, that could make complications or difficulties in this. So take your time, take care of yourself, and if you are pregnant, take care of your baby. That's the most important thing. Work can wait, other things can wait. That's the most important piece. And I do see success after, for some of you, a period of struggle, but that you have to be patient, you have to take your time, and that's the most important thing, okay? If you are trying to adopt, be discerning with the agencies and the people with whom you're connecting, because I don't love the Moon card when I'm looking at business. And this holds true for people that aren't looking at starting a family, just business in general, life in general. I think part of the reason that many of you pulled back and were isolated in the past was because of the fear of being hurt, or the fear of being judged, or the fear of people taking advantage of you. So if sometimes when we really want or need something and kind of put our heart on our sleeves, people can sense that and they take advantage of it. So you've learned the lessons from the past. You're going to be picky, and even if it means waiting a little bit longer, particularly if it's coming to a business decision, or in this case even a family decision, then you're going to just take the time necessary. That's the one thing that I'm seeing across the board here when it comes to anything regarding pregnancy or family, or again now even business. Don't rush, okay? But with that being said, I don't think that you need to live in a state of fear. I don't operate from that center. The Moon card is about transparency, and it can be an inquisitive card if you embrace it in the right way. So you can see through illusions with this card. The moon is bright. It's showing everything that you need to see. And if you feel like there's something that is wrong, ask a question, do some research, trust your gut. It's very, very intuitive, this card. So you already kind of know what you need to do, or if you can trust someone or something, honor that and you're going to be okay. The crowning card is the King of Cups in reverse, which has to do with your ability to be happy and experience joy. And I was saying that this is the way for you to turn really both of these cards in the upright position. Start to have some fun. Start to give yourself permission to celebrate success and things that you want to do. And if you're feeling sad, if you're depressed, if you're not kind of grounded the way you normally are, meditation can help. Talking to a professional so you can work through stuff from the past, that can help as well. And it's important for you to honor and really invest in your mental health and your happiness this month. Because I was talking about the cobwebs or any of the sort of things that could pull you back from the growth and abundance next year. That's it. You have to feel a sense of happiness and stability and really just being healthy with your mental health, okay? We'll look more at your health area when I do the expanded forecast, but that's the first thing that I'm noticing in this spread, is that if you are unhappy, and some of you are, this is recent past, the moon reversed, King of Cups in reverse in the crowning position, and the Three of Swords in the outcome. It's important to address what makes you unhappy. Is it a relationship? Is it, being accepted, because this is a feeling of isolation here? Is it just not feeling a sense of fulfillment with your career? Something needs to be addressed. Once you address it, it's like this big weight gets taken off your back, and you can take a nice deep breath then, and everything is going to start to open up. You'll be free. You'll be untethered. So my encouragement to you this month is don't be afraid to say, to do, or to research whatever it is that you need to in order to feel that sense of freedom, of support, of being untethered. That's the only thing that can kind of hold you back from what I'm seeing growth-wise. The King of Cups can also be a person in your life that is just really emotionally taxing for you. So if it's not an aspect of your personality, if you feel generally happy and well-adjusted, if you've practiced and learned kind of how to be grounded, if you're not afraid to face your fears, then the King of Cups could be like a father figure in your life, a boss, a friend, someone who is really just not happy, and they tend to sort of always be in that state of needing from you, because that's the reason I mentioned like a father or a paternal figure is 10 of Pentacles can be family or partnerships. It could also be your spouse. And then this King of Cups energy is very dominating. So even if it's a woman, it's just showing very, very strong energy, and it's almost like they have a cloud above them. And if you spend too much time in that presence, they need to do the work to clear the cloud. We all have that from time to time. I've experienced it too. So you have to do the work and meditate and find a way out. This person isn't quite ready for that. So don't put too much of your time and energy into trying to fix them. They have to figure out how to do that themselves on some levels. It's really important this month to take some time off. We're at the end of the year, and the good news is many companies actually mandate using up paid vacation. So put it on the calendar, take advantage of it, and use it next year if you can't do it right now. But I think sometimes you have to do it before the end of the calendar year. So, if you can take a long weekend or burn some of that time off at the very end of this month, do it. You're going to be so happy you did. It's going to improve your body. It's going to improve your mental state. It's going to help you get past some of this anxiety that you might have been dealing with. And you'll have a chance to just have some fun, which is something that I'm seeing a need for here. So overall, that's the one thing that I'm seeing is that rest is necessary. I would say for those of you, it's interesting. I actually see the mother and child here. I was talking about if you're trying to get pregnant to rest. I'm also seeing just sort of like that inner child. I feel like some of you have neglected just you. And so I'm encouraging you to take care of yourself, okay? Looking into your ego this month, we have the Seven of Pentacles. Now, the Seven of Pentacles in reverse is showing an end to struggle. For those of you that might have been dealing with debt or a feeling that even it can be a health card too that you've been trying to rebuild, this is showing that it's possible to recover, and I see recovery underway. But because it's in your ego, there are still patterns that created what existed in the past, and I think, again, that's what some of you are afraid of is, can I get over what's held me back from success or abundance in the past? And the answer is yes, you can, because I saw it in the channeled message. I see growth happening. All that needs to happen right now is that you see your worth, you continue on the great work that you've done, allow for continued healing to happen within the heart space. The Moon, the King of Cups, the Three of Swords, it's all about the heart. And that's why I saw the green energy. So whatever you need to do to feel good right here, that's all that matters this month, okay? When I'm looking at the environment, I'm actually heartened quite a bit. We have an upright Three of Pentacles. This is about recognition. This is about success, about graduating, about ascending to new heights. Whatever you've been working to accomplish, this shows that not only is it in your energy, but it should start happening soon. And as soon as now or as soon as next month. And so allow yourself to, again, see your net worth, your self-worth, and allow them to kind of combine. Hopefully, if you haven't been doing something that brings you joy, give yourself permission to explore that opportunity. Again, speaking from experience, it was scary to quit my job. I had a really successful one, and I was entering into a complete unknown and into a career path that most people don't get or support or understand. But you have to follow your path. If you do it, I really see that you're going to be able to succeed. With the Ten of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Three of Pentacles in key positions, you're going to be okay. Again, this is at the heart of the spread. Success and breakthrough, recognition, graduation, progress. It's all good. Some of you might be using the power of the written or spoken word to also get ahead. This is the card for writers and sometimes public speakers too, because it's showing people recognizing what you're sharing, and it usually has to do with publication. As we look at opportunities, there's some additional information coming through. We have the Knight of Swords, which has to do with rapid change. So that expansion period, when it hits, it will happen fast. This is a contractual card too. So some of you might be signing some sort of a legal document. You might be talking to a lawyer. And again, things with respect to the contracts or the legal discussions, they may progress rather quickly. This can be signing that legal document. This can be, signing up with an agent or signing a deed to a house or getting a new job and signing that contract. So I see some really good things happening, but you need to be rested, ready, and prepared for that, because otherwise you might be trying to catch your breath. And, the Knight of Swords is an impatient card, and you have to kind of keep up with it. You don't want this to get away from you. You don't want that opportunity to slip past you. That's why whenever you watch this, I really want you to make sure that you're putting some sort of a date this month on the calendar where you can just take off, relax, and not really do anything productive other than rest, which, by the way, is productive. We just have lost a connection with how essential it is to get a good night's sleep or to just take a day off, rest, read, paint, whatever it is that you do to just feel a sense of this is for me, and that will recharge your battery to a normal level. We do that for our telephone and our watches and everything else every night, but we forget to sometimes do it for ourselves. So please, please, please do that for yourself. I'd like to take a very different take on the Three of Swords here that I see in your outcome. What I'm looking at throughout this spread is overcoming fear and finding success. Again, let me just highlight what I think this is going to be about. We have Ten of Pentacles, success. Wheel of Fortune, expansion. Three of Pentacles, being able to sign a new contract. And also growth and recovery from any sort of challenges that have held you back in the past. All of this is going to happen with rapid succession. These are good things, right? So have you ever noticed when things are good, sometimes you cry just like when things are bad? It can be like tears of disbelief and joy, and it's all this stuff wrapped together. The pain from the past, the success from the present, and the ability to see, oh my gosh, there's new things. Is this really happening? Pinching yourself. So some of you are going to have a moment where you kind of break down because you've had a breakthrough. It's not a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. And I know that when I hit a universal truth, sometimes if I'm coaching someone, I don't cry, but what happens is my tear ducts will activate for a second because I can kind of feel that sense of elation, joy, doubt, everything all wrapped together. It's an intensified emotion. So you can cry when you're happy, and I feel like some of you might be releasing pent-up disbelief in the heart chakra, and it's going to be combined with an affirmation that, no, it's actually going to be okay. So it's kind of punching through the heart, and that's why this big expansion happens. It's like a supernova in your heart space. And in order for that to happen, you're going to have to cry, and you might even have like a day or so when you can't quite collect yourself. So if you ever watch an Olympic athlete or someone at the Super Bowl or even someone who's been working years and years and years, and all of a sudden they get that breakthrough or that recognition, they cry, right? Because it's sort of like, I almost gave up on myself. I almost didn't believe it would happen. And I'm actually almost crying when I'm doing that because I'm tapping into the energy that I think some of you are feeling. And that's what the moon is. It's sort of like the fears were unfounded. It was just an illusion. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And so there's this big release of energy and emotion. And there are tears of joy and tears of sadness for all the kind of sacrifice that you've made. They're just tears. Let them out. Let it go. It's okay. And that's really a key message. Don't hold it all in. I can feel it in my throat. I can feel it in my tear ducts. I think some of you just have to let it out, okay? So whether it's fear, whether it's frustration, whether it's joy, just have a good cry. I think it's going to be really important for you, and you're going to feel better, okay? But I see a lot of things to celebrate, and I think that there could be a combination of joy, of sadness, of celebration, because this can be friends, family, and celebrations as well, and they could be there to celebrate your success. There's some disbelief going on though this month, and that can hold you back. Not being able to see that something's possible, feeling kind of sad or feeling isolated or worrying that past disappointments or debts or things like that are going to permanently sort of cloud the future. Only if you let them, okay? So I see a possibility for happy tears for some of you. For those of you that are just feeling tears, let me just talk about that for a second. The Three of Swords is, yes, a difficult card to see because it can show a punctuated moment. But that's really the only intense energy that I'm seeing this month. There's a little bit of fear and there's a release of that fear. For some of you, there might be a moment where you have an argument or you decide to walk away from something or you decide to quit or break up, whatever it is. It's one moment in an otherwise really positive month. So don't let that one moment define everything. As we expand the forecast here in a moment, looking at health, wealth, love, and destiny, we'll be able to get a much clearer vision of how this all factors in. So let's go ahead and get started with the message in health right now. Health is not just what's going on in your body. It's how you feel, it's how you think. These things manifest, these things attract or detract energy in your life. We have a destructive or a sort of a reforging card here that's coming through. It's Kali. And I'm going to pull it up right so we can read it. It says facing fear. And that's what we see here with the moon card. So let's see what Kali has to tell us. It says major spiritual changes are unfolding. This is your chance to soar, which is what I've been saying the whole reading. So anytime I see a card of death or destruction, it's also a card of creation. This is something that I really love and value with Eastern religion, mythology, and culture is it understands that death is a portal. This month is a gateway, and I feel like you're going to have a chance to release something that it really never was there to support you. So you might be breaking up, you might be quitting, you might be letting go of a habit in your life, and it's hard, right? Because there was part of you that liked it or loved it or thought that it was there for you. There's a disappointment when you see through that illusion. And if it's a person in your life, there can actually be profound sadness and a sense of loss, even like it's a death, because you're seeing someone in a different light, but you're actually seeing them for what they truly are, and you're going to see your own power and strength. That's the piece that's necessary for the sort of supernova moment that I'm seeing with green energy in the heart space. So you have to get through that feeling of, oh my gosh, how is this happening? Sadness, disappointment, elation, all of these things that are kind of pent up in your heart, and just let it all go. And that's what Kali is here to help you with this month. Face your fear. Let that emotion kind of pour through, let go of something, and with the destruction, with the release, with the death of that, there is now room for growth and expansion. So you have to let go of someone or something this month. Probably a friend, a person that you care about, a relationship, or a job. It's something really near and dear to you. When you release it, yes, you're sad, but suddenly now you've opened up space in your life for something better, okay? So Kali's here to remind you it's going to be okay. Yes, there's fear, but there's also joy around the corner. Let's look at wealth and see what's coming through. Yay! We're getting some consistent messages, and I like that. We have expansion here. The card was reversed. You just need to believe it. Look at what's behind this woman here. There's this sort of like the ghosts of the past. And I was mentioning Christmas Carol because it's a good time of year to talk about that. But Ebenezer's visited by the three spirits, right? Past, present, and future. So you're going to have some of that coming through this month. Who you were, who you are right now, and who you want to become. And I want you to kind of make peace with that. They're constantly shifting these visions of ourselves and the understanding of who we are and, again, what we want to create. So be a little bit playful with that. The whole story of A Christmas Carol or Scrooge is all about evolution and the ability to change. I believe you can change. I believe anybody can change. And it can happen in this one moment, this sort of aha moment. And some of you might get that this month and you think, oh my gosh, this is possible. I can do it. But in order to do that, you have to sort of take a risk. We see very fertile energy here. There's both a globe here, which kind of shows the Wheel of Fortune and what's possible. It's almost like the Two of Wands. And I also see what looks like she could be pregnant, and it could be a symbol for those of you that are deciding to get pregnant or, again, trying to bring something into fruition. So you have support, you have an opportunity to do that, but you have to make peace with your own fears, with the ghosts of the past and the sort of specters from the future. Believe in yourself, project out what you think you can do, and just move forward. Expansion is the name of the game. And again, we had two very, very expansive cards at the center, Ten of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune, and in the environment. So the only thing right now that's holding you back is either a lack of imagination, a lack of self-trust, or if you're in a situation where there is friends, family, or coworkers that can't see your worth, there's a need to step away from that restrictive viewpoint. And that is difficult for some of you because there's an attachment to that. So there are some decisions you have to make. If you're ready for the expansion, it's ready to come in. But there is a trade-off. There's a sacrifice for some of you. And it could be that sense of something that you put a lot of investment in and you thought that it was going to pan out differently. But that's a choice that some of you will have to make. Nonetheless, I still think expansion is inevitable. It's here in the environment. So as you get into 2020, this is really the choice between doing it yourself, taking ownership of what's going to happen, or maybe waiting for a tower event sometime over the course of the next 12 to 24 months. So we'll see what happens. Again, it really kind of depends on your free will. But I'm feeling very heartened by the fact that we see expansion in your career space. So we looked at health, we looked at wealth. Now let's take a look at love. We have a card here that reminds me of the Fool. It says traveling lightly. This is about being single and happy, or if you're in a relationship, focusing on personal development this month. And for some of you, walking away from unnecessary baggage. If you have a big family that can kind of like suffocate you, I'm thinking of like My Big Fat Greek Wedding, that movie where she was just feeling like she was lost in the whole shuffle. This is about stepping out and finding a sense of who you are. You need to kind of like find your own space. And I think some of you were trying to do that, but just know that there are places that you can go, there are resources that you can tap into that can also support you. And for some of you, that might be going back to school. The Wheel of Fortune can show investment in yourself, and the ultimate way of doing that is through education. So this basically what I'm seeing is the relationship that matters the most this month is you. And what really matters is how you see yourself, how you feel about yourself, because you've got to fix the heart space. There's something there with worth, self-worth, fulfillment, or happiness that is the only focal point this month. If you're looking for love, sure, we've got the King of Cups here, but the card is reversed. So again, that's showing a little bit of a closure there. Fix your heart, fix yourself. That's going to be the most important thing. If you're looking to find new people, this is also saying get out and explore the world. This is a very vagabond energy. So travel is a great way to do that. And if you want to also know what you can do to improve an existing relationship, it's about letting go of old baggage, old situations. The only way to move forward is to release a lot of the stuff from the past. This is what I saw here. Happy tears are just tears, but this is also about letting go of attachments in your life. So love should be unconditional. Forgiveness is going to be necessary. And in order to forgive, you have to be able to look beyond the mistakes you've made, the mistakes your partner's made, and this is going to be key. So there's going to be a little bit of release, travel, and distance for some of you, even in a relationship. But if you're able to get through that, then I think there's healthy, happy, expansive opportunities that are on the horizon for you. All right, let's look at your destiny card. The message this month is about rescue. And if you actually look at the very top, we see someone with either like a binocular or telescope or something that's able to perceive something in the distance. I think that you're going to rescue yourself, actually. And it could either be by asking for the help that you need or by seeing what's possible and realizing now is the time to start to make some rapid changes, as we saw here with the possibility card, Knight of Swords. Speaking up, taking action, getting people involved if you need to from a legal perspective or a contract perspective, and things will rapidly change. All that's important is to get above a situation, to get out of isolation. By doing this, things start to happen and you find resources that have always been there, but perhaps you had closed off. My guides wanted me to pause for a second and share an image that I'm seeing, which is that for those of you that might know a little bit about how our universe works, you know that we started off with this compressed energy that then expanded. One of the interesting things is there's a thought that perhaps this has happened many times before, that the universe expands and at a certain point that expansion stops and then it starts to crunch in on itself. What I'm seeing in your cycle right now is that it feels like some of you go in this sort of behavior. There's moments where you're out there and very public and doing a lot of things, and then you kind of hermit in and spend a lot of time and energy on yourself. I see that compressed energy here, and I feel like this card is saying it's time to expand and get out of that. But what you might need to do in order to do that is to take a vacation away from work, away from your friends, away from your family, because it feels like all of that energy is actually keeping you in that restricted or compressed state. So just as if we were listening to the radio or watching TV and we didn't like what we see, we need to change the channel. I feel like you need to change the channel and the energy around you. So a change of location and environment, and also the people with whom you're kind of spending your time, that's going to be key. That's going to also be a catalyst for the expansion. I don't think you should do anything in isolation. I do think it would be great to go to a place where there are more people, but it needs to be a different crowd, a different way of thinking and all of that, and that's going to help you out, okay? Let's go ahead now and review everything that we talked about, and then I'll leave you with your closing message. Your channeled message this month was to embrace abundance, and we talked at great depth about that beautiful emerald green energy that symbolized not only growth in career, but also expansion and I would say even development within the heart space. So when your heart heals, when you forgive yourself, when you really do things that bring joy and happiness in your life, that also helps foster the abundance that I was picking up on here. There has been for some of you a period that you've kind of pulled back and isolated yourself. This card is encouraging you to come out of that shell, and it's kind of a reminder that things are now okay. Things will be better than they were in the past. Part of your power exists in being able to connect with people. And when you kind of pull back like this, we were talking about that contraction and expansion. The contraction won't allow people to see all that you have to show. But the interesting thing with that contraction is it's kind of like, a pearl. You need that energy to sort of like close in to create this beauty, which you have. But now it's time to open up and show the pearl inside. And that's what this message is that I'm seeing here. At the center of the spread, we have some really great cards. We have the Ten of Pentacles, which just from a sheer career perspective shows a really nice opportunity on the horizon. But the fact that it's reversed is showing that either where you're working or who you are currently sort of partnering with, there's some sort of an inability to recognize or give you what you deserve. That could either be because you don't see your own worth or aren't fighting for it, or they're just not deserving of the energy that you're putting in. That's why we have in the deep past a balance card saying, fight for that balance, work for what you deserve. And if you ask for it or if you seek out a new opportunity, I see one coming through with the Wheel of Fortune. But the fact that we have two big 10 cards at the center, the 10 of Pentacles and the number 10 in the Major Arcana, means that there may be a double whammy sort of change coming through for some of you. Maybe a change of location, a change of job, change of relationship status. There's a lot of movement that has to happen in order to kind of accomplish the potential energy that I'm seeing here. Focus on your grounding. I mentioned the tree pose here in yoga. That actually could be something that you could do to find a way to focus and get out of your headspace if that's something that you're struggling with. The moon card here is a direct connection with what we were seeing here in your health card with Kali. And it said, again, major spiritual changes are unfolding. This is your chance to soar. So when you face your fear, then all of this expansion is at your disposal and is something that wants to rush in. In addition to overcoming fears, the moon is also indicative of growth of family. So some of you may be looking at having a baby, adopting, or even surrogacy, and all of that is possible. And you just want to be really slow, careful, and mindful of that process. If you are becoming pregnant, you and your partner need to take time to really allow that process to unfold. With business, I want you to be very mindful of the partnerships that you're forging this month, because the moon usually shows something that is behind the scenes or something that isn't what it seems. We also connected the moon with the Three of Swords. For some of you, there's going to be a realization that you have to let go of either someone that you love or maybe a job or some other situation in your life. And that is, for some of you, a very difficult thing, but it's that sacrifice before the expansion. As we look at the King of Cups and also the Three of Swords here side by side, I mentioned that some of you could also just be having happy tears. So there is some sort of an emotional release that's happening. For some of you, it's sad. For some of you, it's happy. For some of you, it's bittersweet. It could be kind of like when, a child moves away and leaves. It's sort of like you're happy that they're gone, but you also miss them. So whatever it is, I get a sense of a mix of the two, happiness and also sadness. But processing the two will also help open you up. And I feel like some of this compressed energy that you've been holding on to in the heart space, it finally it's released, and then you're able to soar high above things and feel better about life and opportunities and all of that. So just let the tears come if they come. With the Four of Swords here in the near future, rest is necessary. Take some of that time off if you can. Spend it with family if you have extended family and you want to spend time with them. The only time I think that doesn't make sense is if you're trying to find out what it is you're looking for. Sometimes you need to get away from people that kind of pigeonhole you into one way of being. So in that case, maybe it's something that you would do with a friend or someone that is very supportive and wants you to kind of come out of your shell. Seven of Pentacles showing recovery after a period of struggle. And the reversal of this is just saying, remember the lessons that you learned, particularly about balance and not overdoing things. The good news with respect to all resources this month is that we see growth and sustainable growth. 10 of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune, 3 of Pentacles. There's not really anything bad with that. The only thing that you have to watch again is that none of the habits from the past step in. Knight of Swords showing things rapidly changing once you allow them to. For some of you, a signing of a contract. And again, this happens quicker than you imagine. So that's exciting for many of you. Once you get through this sort of difficult period, that's when the expansion comes through. So don't overthink that. Just move through the painful piece here and know that there's a lot to be grateful for as we look at the expanded forecast, which we're going to do right now. Again, highlighting the destructive and creative energies that are at play this month. You can't have one without the other, so by releasing something, you make room for creating something. That's your health card, by the way. In wealth, we have expansion. So again, they're right next to each other. The sacrifice or the pain or the loss or this sort of moment of bittersweet energy is then followed up by what I saw in the channeled message, which was expansion, growth, and opportunity. It's also what we see in the environment. It could be a job offer, it could be recognition, it could be even a raise or an opportunity that might require either travel or moving for some of you as well. When it comes to relationships, less is more. We have simplify your life. So you're either where you need to be or you're okay with not being with someone. Traveling lightly means that it's not about the definition of being with someone that is important. It's actually about you feeling a sense of freedom, of liberation, and not carrying with you the burdens, the anger, or any of the energy from the past. It's time to move on. And that ultimately is what we see here in the Destiny card too with rescue. The rescue message was really about having the vision, the foresight, and also the ability to kind of have that perspective by stepping out of something. Once you're able to remove yourself from some of the drama, then everything else comes into focus. So this brings your monthly reading to a close. I hope that you gained all the insight that you need to travel through the month with a sense of understanding what's available to you, the ability to kind of make the decisions that best suit you, and I think for many of you, just being able to deal with some of the emotional challenges that might be coming through as well. If there's ever something that you want to talk at greater length to me about, then feel free to reach out to me. The way that you can do that is by clicking on the first card or the first link below the video. This will connect you to my booking site where you can take a look at rates and availability. And if it makes sense, then I look forward to chatting with you. Otherwise, if you'd just like to say thank you and give a little bit of support for what I've been doing here as far as production goes, there's a really easy way that you can do that. By clicking on the second card or the second link, you'll be taken to a page on my site that walks through how you can become a patron. And all this really means is that there's different ways that you can give back as far as contributions go. So you can do a one-time contribution through PayPal. You can join me on Patreon and do a continuing one, and you can do the continuing contribution also here through YouTube by clicking on the join button. All of that is sort of detailed on that page, so feel free to explore it if you're feeling inclined to do that. I just want to say for anyone that's given support in the past, everything that you see today is a direct result of your generosity, and I really appreciate it, and I'm sure other people do as well, so thank you so much. And if you're wondering how that makes a difference, it helps me continue to buy supplies and also set up all of the production time necessary to do the videos. So again, thanks for anybody that's done it in the past or is thinking of doing it today. Finally, the easiest way to show support just involves clicking the mouse a few times or tapping a few times on mobile. And if you haven't already liked and subscribed, I'd love for you to do that right now. Then you can join me if you'd also like to on social media. By clicking the third card or third link, it will connect you to all the different accounts that I have on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, as well as my newsletter. And from there, then you can also, if you would like to share this on your social media feeds, do so. And honestly, that's a great way to not just help the health of the channel grow and all of that, but it helps me accomplish a few of my planetary goals. I'm here every month to have intelligent conversations about spirituality. I want people to not be afraid to talk about intuition. So when we do this, it helps bring it into the forefront, and that's important. We need spirituality right now. I also want to foster development with all of you. I want more light workers out there. So when you share this, it sparks interest with people out there, and hopefully it's a way for me to kind of pass the torch and continue this positive energy that we're all trying to build right now. Okay, so thank you so much for sharing that. And now let's get into your final message here, your closing word. This month is all about change. And whatever you're afraid of, this card is saying that it's okay. It's going to be important to look at that fear, to move through the fear, to process any of the grief, the happiness, the sadness, the emotions. And once you do that, that's going to bring you into that period of expansion. When you expand your heart space, when you process all of that stuff that's kind of pent up here, that's when your energetic supernova happens. That's when we can get to all of that green abundance of love, of opportunity, of health and wealth that I was seeing for next year. So don't hold back. Share your heart, share your passion, share yourself with the world, because that's part of the magic for you in 2020. And we'll talk more about that in the January readings. But for now, I think you have everything that you need to successfully travel through December. I wish you much joy, much happiness, and a lot of healing too, because it feels like some of you are working through some difficulties or some trade-offs, and you're going to be fine based on the Wheel of Fortune, the 10 of Pentacles, the 3 of Pentacles. There's some great opportunities out there for you, okay? Take care of yourselves. Have a great holiday season, whatever you celebrate. And at the very least, have a very, very happy new year, okay? I'll see you again real soon. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your journey. Until we talk again, take care.